Good day, everyone. I am Stephen Servivilla, and this is our second week of discussion. My topic is all about accounting cycle for service business. The for this week, we have the following learning objectives: service business, definition of accounting cycle, phases of accounting cycle, and the 9 steps of accounting cycle. To fully grasp the concept of accounting cycle, we must begin with the most basic type of business. Let us recall again the types of business. We have three: service, merchandising, and manufacturing. Service business is the most basic type of business. You may ask, what makes it basic? First of all, it does not involve inventories, which is present to the other two types of business. This means that you have one less major asset to account for. It um, It offers professional skills, expertise, advice, and other similar products which are intangible in nature. Examples are the salon, repair shops, schools, banks, accounting firms, and law firms. Now let's define accounting cycle. Accounting cycle is commonly referred to as accounting process, which is a series of sequential steps performed to accomplish the function of accounting. By sequential steps, we mean that we cannot proceed to the next step without finishing the preceding step. This is why it is important to master the accounting cycle. What is the function of accounting? As discussed in your first week of discussion, accounting has several meanings. The definition by the Accounting Standard Councils, which is now replaced by the Financial Reporting Standards Council, states that accounting is a service activity. Its function is to provide quantitative information, primarily financial in nature, about economic entities that is intended to be useful in making economic decisions. So yeah, going back to the definition of the accounting cycle, how does it accomplish the function of accounting, which is to provide the quantitative information? Through accounting cycle, financial data is transformed into financial information. Be familiarized with the difference between data and information. Data are raw facts that are yet to be processed. It becomes information which when it undergoes processes. The process goes like this. The financial data in form of source documents will undergo the accounting process through the accounting cycle to produce financial statements which presents the financial information. As you can see, we have 4 phases of accounting, 3 of which is the accounting cycle itself, and the fourth one will be discussed in your second year under financial management course. So let's focus on these three: the recording, classifying, and summarizing. Recording is also known as bookkeeping. This is the phase where all financial transactions are recorded in a systematical and chronological manner in the appropriate books or databases. Classifying is the phase where similar transactions are sorted and grouped under an account, whether it is an asset, liability, owner's equity, revenue, or income, or expense. The summarizing phase of accounting involves the presentation of information in a manner which is easy to understand and used by both external and internal users of the accounting statements. Graphs and other visual elements are often used to complement the text data. So, yun. Yung interpreting phase, matuturo to second year nyo. Okay. So, now we will proceed to the 9 steps in accounting cycle. First is the identifying and analyzing transactions. Next is journalizing, posting, unadjusted trial balance, adjusting entry, adjusted trial balance. Worksheet is an optional step, but we need to understand it because it really aids the way we do the adjusted trial balance and financial statements, closing entry, post closing trial balance, and reversing entries is also an optional step. First, identifying and analyzing business transactions. Under this, we have two topics: business transaction and source documents. The accounting process starts with identifying and analyzing business transaction and events. We must first identify business transaction and sort it from other transaction and events. A transaction can be considered a business transaction if it provides financial information. How would we know if an event provides financial information? This is when an event affects the financial condition of a company, which can be measured through the use of accounting equation, which is the assets is equals to liabilities plus equity. I will discuss this further on the second step, journalizing. The transactions identified are then analyzed to determine the account's effect and the amounts to be recorded. Business or source documents serve as a basis for analyzing business transactions. Source documents must exist to begin the accounting process. Without source document, transactions can never be recorded. Examples of documents are sales invoice, checks, official receipts, and many more. Source documents are important because they are the ultimate proof of a business transaction has occurred. With this, business transaction can never be recorded. Without this, business transaction can never be recorded. Second step is the journalizing or recording in journal. We have the following topics to be discussed: journalizing, the journal, types of journal, rules of debit and credit, double entry bookkeeping, and types of journal entry. Journalizing is the chronological writing of business transaction and events in the journal. So this is journalizing is the process. So journalizing is how you do this. And the journal is the book, which can be paper or electronic, in which transactions are recorded. It is also called the Book of Original Entries because transactions from the source documents are first recorded here. There are two types of journal. We have the general journal and the special journals. Unless otherwise stated, journal primarily pertains to general journal. Special journals are used for the most frequent transaction in the business. This will be further discussed in the fifth week of our discussion. For example, in a merchandising business, sales and purchase are the most common transactions. In order to facilitate these transactions better, the company should have sales and purchase journal. Note, if the company has purchase journals, general journal may be limited to non-routine and adjusting entries. Kasi, normally, di ba, sa general journal kayo nag-journalizing. Pero pag may special journal na kayo, lahat ng sales transaction ay i-record nyo sa sales journal at hindi na siya mag-a-appear sa general journal. Same goes for the purchase journal. Purchases are directly journalized in the purchase journal and not in the general journal. So, kumbaga pag may available na kayo na sa company nyo na special journals, the general journal is parang general pupunta yung mga transactions that are not recurring or not non-routine. We must to fully grasp the concept of journalizing, we need to learn that double entry bookkeeping because transactions are recorded using this. Um, we have to discuss three topics under which the accounting equation, the debits and credits, and the journal entries. Sorry, mali. So, ito. Nagbabalik na naman si accounting equation. The rules of debit and credit is nagmumula dito sa accounting equation. On the left side, we have the debit. And on the right side, we have the credit portion. Equality should always be observed in accounting. And this is through the accounting equation. This means that the amount of debit should always equal the amount of credit. As you can see here, assets should always be equals to liability plus equity. An expanded version would go as assets is equals to liabilities plus equity plus revenue minus expenses minus drawings. If we would transpose the accounts with negative sign, we would arrive with this equation: drawings, expenses, assets. Drawings plus expenses plus assets is equals to liabilities plus equity plus revenue, which will be very useful for understanding the rules of debit and credit. So, to summarize the rules of debit and credit, we have to know this dealer. Yan po yung mnemonic na ginagamit namin para mas madaling maintindihan ang debit. Debit is to DEA, credit is to dealer. So yan, parang sadali siya maintindihan. Para alalarin nyo na lang na, si DEA, under the DEA, si assets, andun, si expenses, si drawings, andun na lang credit, andun si si liabilities, equity, or si revenue. Ito yung other terms nila. Kasi sa accounting problems, marami talagang words na ginagamit and you need to be familiarized with such words. Kaya, kung may time kayo, solve, hanap kayo ng other sources para mas ma-familiarize kayo sa mga words as such. Pero yan, drawings can also be called as withdrawal. Equity can be owner's equity and capital. Usually, ginagamit to sa sole proprietorship kasi isa lang naman yung nagmamayari. Pero nagagamit din pala to sa partnership. Yan. And another term for revenue is income. So, be familiarized with that. So, ayun. Bakit nga ba natin pinaghiwalay itong si dealer, si DEA at si LER? Kasi itong si DEA, meron siyang normal balance na debit. Ang meaning kasi ng normal balance is if nag-debit ka sa account na may normal balance na debit, the amount of the account will increase. And kung magki-credit ka sa account na may normal balance na debit, siya ay magdi-decrease. Same goes for the LER. May normal balance na credit. So, the effect of the debit decreases the amount of the account. And the effect of the credit increases the amount. So, para mas madali nyo ma-analyze yung transactions, ganun siya. For example, di ba, ang assets has a normal debit balance. So, pag sinabing debit assets, so maalala nyo, increase kasi part siya ng DEA. And then, for example, credit revenue. So, mag-increase siya. Kasi credit, normal balance, tas nag-credit ka. Guys, may linaw ba? Kung medyo nahihirapan kayo, pwede nyo akong i-PM kasi or magsabi kayo sa group chat kasi mahirap na mag-proceed sa next lesson kung hindi nyo pa nag-grasp yung from previous lessons, especially itong rules of debit and credit kasi ito yung pinaka-foundation nyo sa journalizing. And journalizing is really an important step. Kasi nga, di ba sa accounting cycle, hindi tayo makakaproceed sa other steps kung hindi pa natatapos yung previous step. So, again, pwede natin makalimutan. We have ang account types natin. For short, we have dealer. Hatiin natin siya sa kalahat. Hatiin natin siya. We would have DEA, which is for debit, and LER for credit. DEA accounts have a normal balance of debit, which means that pag nag-debit ka ng DEA, pag nag-debit ka ng drawings, pag nag-debit ka ng expenses, pag nag-debit ka ng assets, lahat yan mag-i-increase. Debit expense, increase. Debit drawing, increase. Debit assets, increase. Pag kin-credit mo naman siya, magdi-decrease siya. Credit drawing, so babawasan. Credit expense, mababawasan. Credit asset, mababawasan. Keller naman, normal balance is credit. So, pag dinebit mo siya, mababawasan siya. Debit liabilities, decrease. Debit equity, decrease. Debit revenue, decrease. And since it has a normal balance of credit, pag kin-credit mo siya, mag-i-increase siya. Credit liabilities, increase. Credit equity, increase. Credit revenue, increase. Hindi na guys? So, yan guys. Basta buhay pa tayo. Kung hindi nyo na-absorb, magpahinga muna. Mag-exercise. Basta, you need to really absorb this topic. So, yun nga, kung hindi pa kaya ng utak, maglibang muna. Pero, huwag kakalimutan, balikan nyo kaagad ako. Kasi, we are gonna proceed with the next topic na. So, we have two types of journal entry. So, journal entry refers to the complete set of information written in the journal. There are two types of journal entry, the simple and the compound. A simple journal entry contains only one debit and one credit. For compound journal entry or complex journal entry, we have multiple debits or credits. Pero yun nga, sa mga tatanong dyan sa GC, kung kailan dapat gamitin to, wala namang rules na nagsasabi if kailan pwedeng gamitin to. For as much as possible, una, dapat pareho sila ng date. Pangalawa is related transaction sila as much as possible. Yun. Pero, yun nga. Every lesson, may tuturo sa inyo dyan kung paano mag-simple journal at compound journal entry. So, yun. Kailangan nyo lang malaman kung paano siya magiging compound. So, ito. For simple journal entry, we have two entries. So, ito. Yung debit supplies, 10,000. Credit cash, 10,000. And for the other, for the description, nag-purchase tayo ng supplies. Mamaya explain ko kung paano nagagawa tong journal entry, by the way. Tapos yun, another transaction is nag-purchase tayo ng equipment. Debit equipment, 5,000. Credit cash, 5,000. So, para natin siya mapag-isa using compound journal entry, we have to use, kukunin natin itong dalawang debit. Debit supplies, 10,000. And debit office equipment. Dapat may office equipment dyan pareho dapat ng account title yan. Nakakasunod pa ba guys? So, ayan. Natutunan na natin yung mga components and important details in journalizing. Now, we will learn how to journalize. First, kailangan natin ng journal. So, ganito itsura na nun. May page number, and you will a general journal na title, na date, account title, post reference, and debit and credit. Sa mga di familiar, ganito itsura ng journal, two-column journal. And I will teach you how to fill it up. So, ayan. Una is yung page number. Hindi siya nasama dito, pero you need to put the page number. Dapat talagay mo 1. And then, you will put the year. Kada page is isang beses ka lang maglalagay ng year. For example, 2020. Hanggang baba niyan, hindi ka na maglalagay. Sa next page ka na maglalagay ng 2020 ulit. And then, um, yung buwan, pag same month pa lang siya, kumari ito, katulad ito, hindi mo siya kailangan pa ulit-ulitin na January, January, January. Dapat isa lang, like January, and then yung date, yan, ganyan. And then, pag next month, syempre, lalagay mo, February. Tapos, again, hindi mo na ulitin yun. Dates na lang. And, for the date, yan, katapat na ito. And then, yan, this is the debit, and this is the credit, and may description ka kahit likely lang. Lahat yan may points ha, kaya wag niyo mamimiss. Kuwari, paid cash, an account, paid car, rental. Nagva-vary naman yan. Wala namang mali as long as nadi-describe mo ng maayos yung entry mo. And itong post reference, wag niyong lalagyan yan kung hindi pa kayo nagpo-posting sa ledger. Kahit ano, wala kayo ilalagay dyan. And the amount for the debit and credit, yan. Dapat, ano yan, equal yan ha. Pag hindi yan equal, ibig sabihin may mali. So, babalik ka sa pag-analyze ng question. And then, yan. Ganyan lang yung pag-journalizing. Basta remember na mag-leave ng at least half an inch for the credit. Like, kung mag-compound entry ka, debit, magkakapantayan dito lang sagad. And then, if you'll proceed to credit na, mag-leave ka ng half an inch. And, same for this, kunwari, debit, tatlong debit yan. Debit, debit, debit. So, tatlo din dapat dito, debit, debit, debit. Okay? And then, yung pang-apat is credit, naka-indent. Tapos, dito na siya sa right side. And then, another half-inch indentation for the description. Yan. Step 3. Posting to ledger. Posting is the process of transferring amounts from the journal to ledger. So, ayan, ito yung magiging after nyong mag-journalize, ito yung magiging outcome niya pag na-post niya sa ledger, and mamaya I'll teach you how to do that. Okay? So, first kilalanin muna natin si ledger. Ledger is a book made up of accounts that show the changes made to each account as a result of past transaction and their current balances. So, just like the journal, this is a book which can be paper or electronic. Yung current balances, yun yung gagamitin natin sa next step, which is the unadjusted trial balance. So, ledger is also known the book of final entry because this is where the business transaction first entered in the journal are finally recorded. So, there are two types of ledger, the general ledger and the subsidiary ledger. Just like the general journal, when I speak of simply ledger, this means that that is general ledger. Subsidiary ledger is optional, but is useful for big companies. For example, a company may have several customers buying goods on account. By account, which means that the company must handle a lot of accounts receivable. Yan. So, to manage this, if your company only has a general ledger, kunwari, general ledger lang ang meron ka, you will only have one account to monitor the accounts receivable. So, ito lang yung alam mo sa accounts receivable. As of March 31, meron kang 4,900 na accounts receivable. Pero, para mas madali itong i-manage, andyan ang subsidiary ledger, which is, binibreakdown natin siya into the customer names, accounts receivable from C. Daily, from Bijan. So, yan. Hinahati lang natin siya sa per customer. Pero the subsidiary ledger is not limited to such use. Meron pa siyang ibang gamit. Pero yun nga, madalas siya gamitin for accounts receivable and accounts payable. Tapos, binibreakdown siya into different names of the customer or the supplier in the sense of accounts payable. So, pag meron tayong subsidiary ledger, um, yung tawag na dun sa account natin is magiging control account na siya. Control account is the aggregate of the total amount corresponding to the individual and corresponding subsidiary ledger. To fully understand the posting, let us divide it into simpler topics. So let's talk about the accounts. The accounts is the a general ledger is simply a collection of the accounts. So yung T accounts, hindi lang siya limited for general ledger. Magagamit din natin siya to fully understand the rules of debit and credit. In fact, even us, in our higher accounting subjects, ginagamit namin tong T account. Um, if we will follow the mnemonics a while ago, the dealer, so si drawing account, expense, asset, yung yung debit niya is to increase and the credit is to decrease. For LER, yung debit is to decrease and credit is to increase. And then, yung ending balance is dito. Mamaya, tuturo ko yan ko sa inyo kung paano. Pero, patutunayan natin kung bakit yung ledger is a collection of the account. So, ayan. Break tayo sa ledger natin kanina. Diba, nakikita nyo yan? Ayan na. Lang T yan. Malaking T. Kasi, tas ito naman yung sa debit and credit. Parang pinalaki lang yung kanina, diba? So, ganyan lahat ng kada account. May isa kang ganyan sa ledger. And so, yan. May inventory, may prepaid insurance. Ganyan yan. Like, and ganun din sa ibang accounts. So, ayan. Balik tayo dun. So, yan. Ganun siya kaya the general ledger is a collection of the accounts. Tapos, let's proceed to the chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is a list of all the accounts in the general ledger, each with a corresponding reference number. For small businesses, a three-digit number is sufficient. For larger companies, more digits allow easier insertion of new accounts as business grow. We have here an example of accounting number with for which has a 4-digit for per account. So as you can see, yung range niya is 1,000. So yun nga, at least meron kang 1,000 possible accounts for assets. So as your business grows, pwede ka mag-insert. For example, ang counting mo is 1,001, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, hanggang 1,050. And so, pag lumaki yung business mo, nagkaroon ka ng bagong asset account, you can easily insert na 1,051. Ganun, di ba? So, yun. Hindi mo siya necessary na kailangan punuin na hanggang 1,999. Pero, ibig sabihin, hanggang dun yung range niya kasi after nung 1,051, kakat na yon and we'll proceed to the liability which starts with the number 2,000. So, ganun yan. Sorry. So, for example, ganito yung paggamit ng chart of accounts. Ito, 3 digit tong, sorry, 3 digit tong given. 100 to 199 is for the assets. So, ayan, may mga bungi ang ginawa niya kasi para may masingit siya. For example, may mas liquid na asset. Kasi normally, ang asset is arranged uh, with its liquidity. Liquidity is the um, kung gaano kadali na ma-convert ang isang asset to cash. So, being the most liquid asset. So, yan. Ganyan yung example niya. Ito for posting reference. Posting reference facilitates the linking between the journal and the ledger. So, itong nasa taas is the journal. Itong nasa baba is the ledger. Sa journal, ang ating posting reference cites the account number in the ledger. And for the ledger naman, the posting reference indicate the source of the entry from which the journal and in what page of that journal. So, yan. Sinasabi ko kanina diba sa journal na wag muna tong i-fill up kasi we will only fill this up after we have posted the account. So, partial introduction na rin to sa posting. Yun nga. So, after mo mag-record nito, you will post it to the cash account. So, since we have a debit of, for example, wala muna to Yan, wala rin to. Empty rin to. For example, we would have a debit of 10,000. So, debit, remember, malaking T account to. Debit is the left side, credit is the right side. So, to place the debit, we will input 10,000 here. And then, kung saan siya nanggaling. So, since general journal lang naman to, GJ yung initials niya. And from what page? So, hypothetically, for example, this is from page 5. And kung special journal naman siya, ibang initials ang ilalagay nyo dyan. And that is my topic in the future. Parang week 4 ata. Yan. Basta, that's my topic. So, yun. And then, for the credit naman ng accounts receivable, which is 10,000 din. So, credit is to the right side. Yung pala muna, posting reference naman natin sa journal is yung account number. So, 1,010. Yan. Nilagay natin sa posting reference. So, this signifies that the account is already posted to the ledger. So, ayan. Now, we will post the accounts receivable, credit. So, credit is to the right side. So, 10,000. And itong particulars, para lang siya ng yung definition mo sa journal. Pero mas maikli to. Kasi, doon, for example, collected cash. Dito talagang sobrang liit lang. Iksi lang pala, sorry. Like, collection. Understood na yan. Ganito mag-posting. First, you will identify to which account you need to post the journal, the recorded journal. So, we have here a debited amount of 50,000. And so, yung katuturo ko lang, posting reference from which kind of journal, general or special, and then the page, and simple particular or simple comment, and then the date. And then, for example, ito, other transactions lang yan. Like, nasa credit siya. So, nasa right side siya. And then, you will total it both. And then, ito, kung makikita nyo to, di mas malaki itong debit side. Doon dapat mapupunta yung balance. Kasi, ima-minus mo lang to. 50,000 minus 7,400. And then, yun yung balance. Pero dapat, double rule to. And then, ganun din dito. So, isa lang siya. So, yun lang. And yun lang. Basta ganun lang siya. Kailangan nyo lang i-entry per date again. Kasi chronological order. And then, we need to put a very very small comment and the reference kung saan siyang galing journal and the page number and kung ano yung amount. And then, we have to total it. And then, pag minus mo siya, kung mas malaki yung credit, edi nandito siya. Dito yung balance. All the entries from the journal must be posted to the various account in the ledger. So, ito example. Dapat itong lahat yan mapopost. Kasi, hindi tayo magbabalance kung hindi natin mapopost. Kaya, isa yan sa mga tedious tasks in accounting. So, we need to be very careful. So, yan. posting mo lang siya to its specific account. Preparing the unadjusted trial balance. Unadjusted siya because hindi pa tayo nagkakaroon ng adjusting entries. Pero, ayun, yung tatlong trial balance ay tatakal natin is pare-pareho lang ng method ng paggawa. Different lang siya is because it is specified kung what order siya nangyari. Like, ito, unadjusted trial balance. This is because this trial balance is done before adjusting entries are made. A trial balance is a listing of all the accounts appearing in the general ledger with the amount of the debit or credit balance of each. So, 'di ba, after natin mag-posting, magkakaroon tayo ng balance yun sa dulo. It's either on the debit side or the credit side, whichever is mas malaki dun sa basta yung magiging balance dun. And then, ilalagay lang natin siya with the same order nung um, chart of accounts. Ito yung, for example, yung 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. And then, again, the left side is for the debit, the right side is for the credit. And then, wag na wag malilito sa paglalagay niyan. And, again, ito, double rule to. Always, wag magkakamali doon. Isa yun sa mga minamali talaga ng mga prof, yung double rule. Dapat i-double rule nyo on total. And put some currency, peso sign for us sa taas and then sa baba. And then, specify mo which kind of trial balance and the company and then kung ano yung date ng recording ng presentation, sorry, which is usually at year end or quarterly. So this is prepared to test the equality of debits and credits. The debit should be equal to total credits. So yan, dapat pag equal yan. Pag hindi yan equal, may mali. So kailangan mong balikan yung 3 steps na nakaraan. Baka first pa lang mali ka, kaya you need to be very careful with every step of the accounting cycle. So, next. Itong adjusting journal entries, magiging topic to sa week 4. And ito, yung sabi ko nga kanina, we have 3 trial balances here. And this is the second one, the adjusted trial balance. And this is done after the adjusting entries, which is the step 5 and before the financial statements. This is to test the debits if the debits are equal to the credit after the adjusting entries are made. So, yun. Due to the double entry bookkeeping system of accounting, we need to ensure that in every step of accounting that everything is equal. So, yan. To assure it, meron tayong mga tawag yan, parang inihintuan. Yung para mabalikan natin, hindi yung dire-diretso tayo tapos hindi naman pala balance. So, that is the purpose of the trial balance, to ensure that everything is in balance. Yeah. And this is an optional step. The worksheet is a tool used to aid the preparation of adjusting entries and financial statements. Some of you may be familiar with this already and some are not. So, yan. First, we need to put the company name, accounting worksheet or worksheet will do, and for the month ending, lalagay nyo lang kung kailan nag-end, for the month or for the year ending. Tapos yan. Una, dito sa first 2 column, we have the unadjusted trial balance. And then, dito yung adjusting entries. Adjusted trial balance, and income statement, and balance sheet. So, this is an optional step, pero sobrang pagtututukan nyo to, sobrang pinagpuyatan namin to dati talaga. Kasi, dito pa lang minsan, X ka na. So, hindi ka makaproceed. So, you need to ensure that equal yan. Debit, again, is for the left side. Credit is for the right side. Tips ko sa inyo, pag nagawa na kayo nito, either maglagay kayo ng pentel pen dito or highlighter, like para makita mo lang yung division ng five components here. So yan, again, ilalagay mo lang kung paano yung order sa trial balance. Para yung itsura ng trial balance, 'di ba? Parang nilagay mo lang siya, and then kada may madadagdag ka, dito mo ilagay sa ilalim 'yun. Kasi normally ang adjusting entry is yun nga, after the unadjusted trial balance. So mauuna yung unadjusted trial balance accounts, and then saka mo lang i-entrada yung adjusting entries. So sa ilalim mo ilalagay yon. Sorry. So yan, and then dapat yung kalalabasan mo dito is equal din. Equal. Ito nga pala, kaya lang siya ginawang ganyan. By the way, sa accounting, this means negative. Pero yung iba ginagamit ito to show credit. Pero hindi natin ginagamit sa PUP yan. Ang tinatanggalan, ang same value lang. Like, hindi siya negative na ganyan. This means kasi is to decrease or negative. Either of the two. So, yan. Yan, lagi makikita mo equal. So, yan. Dapat yung, di ba, nagkaroon ka adjusting entries. Ito, cash, debit. Nagkaroon ka ng debit na 9,000 and then credit. So, dapat ito, plus ito, minus ito ang kalalabasan. Yan. Kailangan mo ensure na tama yung mga yan. And then again, magkakaroon ka dito ng equal balance. And then, pag-hiwalay-hiwalayin mo na siya, kailangan mong malaman which are the income statement accounts and which are the balance sheet accounts. And, yun. Ayan, itototal mo ulit siya. And, yung magiging difference nila, kung mas malaki ang credit is normally for revenue accounts. So, kung mas malaki yan, syempre, revenue minus expense is either net loss or net income. Ayun. If ever na mas malaki yung credit sa debit, meron kang net income. Kung mas malaki yung debit sa credit, meron kang net loss. Kasi, mas malaki yung expense mo sa kinita mo. Kaya meron kang loss or lugi. And, yun, ilalagay mo siya dyan. So, mag-equal pa rin. Mag-equal sila. And then, i-close mo kasi yan sa capital or sa equity. Kaya, kung net loss siya, magiging negative siya dito. Ayan, nabawas siya doon, 'di ba? Pero kung net income, madadagdag siya. Yun siya. Kasi, kumita ka. So, nadagdagan yung capital mo. So, again, equal. And, ito na yung ilalagay mo sa financial statements, which is our next step. Meron ka ng dalawa. Isa na lang kulang. Kasi, normally, 3 lang naman gagawin yung income financial statements sa ngayon. Pero, in the future, meron pang dalawa. So, yun. 7th step is the preparation of financial statements. When the accounts are already up to date and equality between the debits and credits have been tested through the use of the trial balance, financial statements can now be prepared. The financial statements are the end product of the accounting system. So, meron tayong 5 financial statements. The statement of comprehensive income, formerly known as income statement, statement of financial position, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flow, notes to financial statements. And so, kung tatanungin kayo, ito ang isasagot nyo. Kasi ito yung mas updated. Ito, outdated na to. Pero ginagamit pa rin siya. So, yan. First, we have the statement of comprehensive income. So, ang makikita mo dito is the revenue and the expenses. So, kita yung format niya. Company, kind of income kind of financial statement. So, statement of comprehensive income, and for the year ended. Mamaya may iba to sa balance sheet, and I will explain why. So, yun. Farthest right to, and then indention for this, and then siya ulit, and then total mo lang siya, itapat mo siya dito, and then put a parenthesis to signify the less. Itong less. Currency, kada column dapat isang currency. And after total then, put a currency. So, ayan. So, to sum it up again, the company name, the kind of financial statement for the year ended or for the period ended. Pero, if ever na specified na for the month ended or for the quarterly ended, lalagay nyo for the quarter ended, for the month ended, basta yun. May hints naman yan sa problem. And then, yun. Una mo is the revenue first. For the, lalagay mo siya sa furthest, to the most right. And then, less expenses. And then, i-specify mo siya kung anong kind of expenses. Basta, copy nyo itong format na ito. And then, huwag kakalimutan ng peso sign. And then, in total nito, ganun mo. And then, parenthesis. And then, double rule the final answer. Next is the statement of changes in owner's equity. So, again, company, kind of financial statement for the year ended, for the period ended, for the quarter ended, or for the month ended. And then, ito yung pangalan ng owner. Most apelido. Madalas is, kung may first name and last name is, yan na natin. For example, for me, S. Revilla, the comma, capital, and then ito yung beginning balance. And then, you have the additional, add, ito naman, dagdag to. Add, di ba yung kanina less, we have either add or less additional contributions and then net income. Total, ayan, di ba, kada after ng total, meron tayong currency. And then, ililess mo yung withdrawals or the drawings, and we would arrive with the ending capital. Again, currencies and the double rule. And lastly, we have the statement of financial position or the balance sheet. So, yun. Kanina, di ba, balikan natin. Meron tayong for the year ended. Pero, bakit yung balance sheet is as of? Kasi, balance sheet contains information of a specific date in comparison to the owner's equity, and the income statement is natin. Yan. Na the information in these two financial statements are pertain only to a range of reporting period, which is for the year. Yung sa balance sheet kasi wala siyang range, kumbaga continuous siya. Etong kasing dalawa is kino-close niya siya, which is matututunan niyo sa week 4. Yan. So, yan. Just like I said, the 8th step is the closing journal entries. Malalaman niyo dyan kung bakit balance sheet lang ang natitira. Bakit balance sheet lang yung sisabi nating as of in comparison to the income statement and the owner's equity na for the period. Yan. So, the third and the final trial balance and our last topic is the post-closing trial balance. Sinasabi ko na we use the trial balance to test the equality of the debit and credit. So, after natin mag-closing entries, magkakaroon tayo ulit ng trial balance para malaman natin kung pantay sila. And sa matutunan, konting introduction na sa closing entries. So, we have two types of account, the temporary and the real account. Ayun. Temporary accounts are technically income statement accounts. Yung income, expense. Pero meron tayong isang balance sheet account na kino-close, which is the withdrawal. Yan yung fact natin. The drawing or the withdrawal is the only balance sheet account that is closed. Yun. And then, yung real accounts, hindi natin kino-close yan. In accordance to the GAA principle of continuity na business should I assume to be continuous unless otherwise stated. So, doon na natatapos ang ay meron pa pala. Sorry. We finally have the journal entry, the reversing journal entries, which is again another optional step. In this step, the adjusting entries made for the following entries are reversed. Accrual of income, accrual of expenses, deferrals under income method, and prepayment under the expense method. So, alam ko, hindi nyo pa naintindihan to sa ngayon kasi hindi pa natin na topic. So, topic po natin yan sa week 4. Ang reversal journal entries lang po kasi is babalik na rin natin yan. Like, ito, ang entry mo kasi dyan is, ito yung adjusting entry, salaries expense, salaries payable, and then, babalik na rin mo lang siya. Yun lang yung purpose ng reversing journal entry. This is optional kasi pwede mong hindi gawin to. And you will arrive with the same balance. So ayan. Thank you very much guys for listening. Mahaba yung lesson ko, I know. Pero I tried na paikliin siya without sacrificing the quality. And I hope na naintindihan nyo talaga siya. And kung may questions for clarifications. And if may gusto pa kayong i-expound ko, feel free to PM me or magsabi sa GC. And I will upload another video regarding with the solving naman ng business transactions. Kasi more on concepts lang itong ginawa ko. And yun, parang I will show you how to analyze business transactions and to perform the whole accounting cycle. So, ayan. Thank you guys.